Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another Sims 4 info/thoughts video. So, wow, I didn't think I'd even really be doing another one of these videos this week, but there was a lot more stuff that happened. The first thing I'll talk about is the extra blog they released this week, which is about penthouses. There really isn't any new things that we didn't already know, but it is really cool that you can basically just build a house on top of a skyscraper. That's how free the building is with the penthouses, so that's pretty neat. There is one exception, which is you can't make basements under penthouses, but I mean, yeah, penthouses don't have basements in real life anyways, so that's at least a limitation that makes sense. But speaking of limitations, we do have an explanation as to why we cannot build our own apartments from the ground up. SimGuru Yuji went into detail on a post on the Simulation Tech Talk thread in the official forums. In summary, they really wanted to achieve a believable city atmosphere. They also wanted to save on memory usage as well as be able to have multiple households within one building. The apartment buildings basically work as neighborhoods themselves. For the most part, I understand this explanation, although then I'm wondering, are we ever going to have the floor limit expanded if we don't have it expanded for an expansion pack like this one? Because I think it'd be great if we did have more than 5 floors eventually, even though I wouldn't expect to be able to build on 50 floors or anything really crazy like that. But I mean, like, 8 floors would be cool. Also, not every apartment building ever is really tall. I mean, what we had in Belladonna Cove aren't really tall buildings anyway. However, SimGuru Yuji did say something else that gave me a little bit of hope. He said that the shells are objects, so he thinks modders will find ways to liberate them and do crazy things. It's just that they don't officially support it. So maybe, just maybe, we could get something like the rabbit hole rugs and doors in The Sims 3 that could trick the lot into thinking that the lot is an apartment. This is just speculation on my part. I don't know for sure if we'd be able to do that at all, but it's just a theory. It'd be kind of a bummer to have to use mods to have custom apartments, but it's still a lot better than nothing and would maybe help me get over them not officially being in the game. Another thing worth mentioning that came from SimGuru Yuji is that they are working quite a bit on relationship culling and relationship decay, but he doesn't know the release schedule for that. Still, it's really good to know for sure that they are working on it. I haven't really talked about this issue much myself, but I do suffer from it, especially as someone who plays rotationally, because usually I don't spend more than 2 sessions in a row with the same household. Then I switch to another one for a while, and then it's quite a while before I go back to the first household, and then they've already lost some relationships, and I'm like, oh, great. I mean, I do have a mod that can put the relationships back up, but I prefer to cheat as little as possible. But let's move on to some exciting stuff. So in something that I definitely did not expect, we already had a live stream this week. A short but sweet one that focused strictly on apartments. They played in the Spice Market district, and I really like the look of it. It looks very realistic, and I love the view of the ocean, and the bridge in the background is really nice. I see myself playing here a lot because I'm not always going to want to be playing in the super rich places in the world. They ended up dealing with a noisy neighbor. It seems like she was throwing some really loud party or something, but it's interesting that there's a couple different ways that you can address the problem. You can go up to their door and either knock politely or angrily pound on the door, or you can take a more passive-aggressive route by leaving a note on a bulletin board. Then they went to build mode and showed off the list of the lot traits. I'll leave a link to an article in the video description below that shows all the traits so you can read them at your own leisure. And they also showed a new copy tool for build mode where you can easily copy the room that you've selected and place a copy of it down. This is definitely a nice addition. I already imagine this being really useful, say if you're making many public washrooms for a venue and you just want to copy the same room over and over again, you can easily do that. Another thing they showed off was calling the landlord for help when there's plumbing and electrical problems in your apartment. And it is pretty interesting how your relationship with the landlord can affect how likely they are to help you out, because if they don't like your sim, then they will probably sit on your couch and watch TV and not actually do what you told them to. If the landlord does not cooperate with you, you always have the option of making the repairs yourself too. And while the sim gurus are in the process of moving the household to the penthouse, we get to see the world map of San Myshuno. I think it actually looks really nice. I love how the bridge that you can see in the Spice District is actually on the world map there, right in the center. From the looks of it, there aren't that many lots, but the amount of apartments per building are supposed to count as individual lots. And according to SimGuru Daniel, the world has a total of 30 lots. The only other concern I have with the world is that there doesn't seem to be that many places where we could put down just normal community lots, because I really want to add at least one restaurant to the world. But we can actually convert penthouses into venues, so maybe that can alleviate the problem a little bit. A couple of things I'd like to point out is that you can see the lot traits both when you're just about to move the family in, and also as the lot is finished loading and the camera does the zooming in and does the da-da-da-da-da jingle. So that's pretty neat. I'm glad that we don't have to go into build mode just to see what the lot traits are. But backtracking just a tiny bit to these loading screens, there's some interesting facts revealed. So this first one says, eating poorly made pufferfish nigiri can cause a slight case of death. So it looks like we finally have a new death type in this game. I think it's been quite a while since we had the last one. To be honest, I don't even remember when the last time we got a new death was. But it is really cool to see a new one, and it definitely looks like it's related to a new recipe. There's also this tip that pops up saying, you can jam with more than your voice using the singing skill. Try using other instruments to sing and play. We'll get back to the singing skill in a minute. But getting back to the penthouse apartment, the first thing they show off there is a talking toilet. What? This is such a weird addition. I would have not expected this in a city-themed expansion. This seems like it would have fit in a lot better with maybe an Into the Future remake or some sort of sci-fi pack, but I don't know, it's not, like, terrible, but I just think it's weird. It's like a more advanced form of the Uber toilet, and it looks like Hal is stuck inside it. Oh boy, that must be terrible to be forced to watch Sims go to the toilet in front of you. But this toilet is pretty advanced. There's even AI settings and special effects and hologram displays that you can watch. It's just like, wow, all these things that a toilet can do. But one of the taglines they've used for The Sims 4 is weirder stories, and this fits into the weirder stories category pretty easily, so yeah, like, I guess it fits in with the game. It's just not the exact time I would have expected to get it, but it's still okay. Next, they show off both the curved TV and the video game console. And these two things I definitely love. I'm really glad we're getting another new TV. And finally, the video game console is back. And contrary to what I thought before, not all the games are footage of The Sims 3. Because My Sims Racing is featured as one of the games. That's pretty neat. I am slightly concerned that there's only 2 games there, but I think that's just because you need a higher video game skill to unlock more. That's how it works with the other gaming devices, so I'm guessing that's how it's going to work with the console too. On a side note, I'm not expecting this to ever come back, but I really liked how in The Sims 2 you could buy extra video games from the store if you really wanted to. it's just like a nice, realistic sort of thing that I wouldn't mind seeing again, and then maybe you could even display your copies of your game on a shelf or whatever. It'd also be a nice gift to give to other Sims if we ever get the gift-giving interaction back. I like the look of the video game console too. It's a lot more compact looking than what we had in the previous games, and it's more in line, I guess, with what we have today, although it does remind me a little bit more of my Seagate external hard drive than my Wii U or any of the other video game consoles that we have right now, but it's still really cool. I definitely like the look of it, and I'm definitely going to be using this object a lot. So happy that the video game console is finally back. And now we get back to the singing skill. This is hands down my favorite part of this live broadcast, because not only can your Sim sing along with an instrument and the karaoke machine, SimGuruJM also said that you can sing in the shower too, and all of that ties into the singing skill. There are 16 songs to unlock for duets, and there's 12 for solo, so that's quite a huge selection. A singing skill is something I never would have expected to happen in The Sims, but I'm really glad that I'm being proven wrong here, because I think I'm really going to enjoy this skill. It just looks super fun. One thing that SimGuruJM mentioned on Twitter after the broadcast is that the singing skill does have 10 levels, not just 5, so there is a lot of gameplay on offer here. The one other thought I have, though, is if they bring back the ability to make our own bands in a later pack, how will they incorporate singing since it's in City Living? Will they actually go back and put the singing skill into that pack as well, or are we just going to be stuck with instrumental bands again like in The Sims 3? It's definitely something to think about. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but if they do actually manage to incorporate the singing skill into a band feature, that would be amazing. It would be a really good example of just integrating packs together. SimGuruJM and SimGuruSteph then proceeded to answer a couple of questions. Nothing too big, but they said they do intend on revealing more specific information about basketball, which is pretty intriguing to me because I'm really excited about the basketball returning. That's been one of my favorite objects since The Sims 1. And they confirmed that the limit for law traits is 3. And as you can see here, SimGuruHouts did answer one of my questions in the Twitch chat about how often earthquakes happen. So yeah, there's a good chance we'll see at least a small quake once a week or so, but they can be bigger as well. I wonder if they'll damage objects or do something really crazy, but it'll be something we'll have to wait and see. Definitely excited to know a little bit more about earthquakes. I know that actually sounds kind of weird saying that, but I'm just being honest. Overall, I enjoyed this live stream. Yeah, it was really short, but since we already got a live stream now, I think there will be at least a few more before the game comes out. Maybe bi-weekly, maybe even every week. That would be interesting. I think at the very least, we'll probably have a live stream about the careers and another about the festivals. And that's all I have to say about the live stream, but wait, there's more before I wrap up this video. SimGuruSteph confirmed 2 new traits as well as a new aspiration for City Living. So the 2 new traits are unflirty and vegetarian. And while I am really glad to see these traits come back, I'm a little confused as to why they're strictly coming with City Living, because in my opinion those don't really match up with the theme of living in the city. They sound like basic traits that should be included with a game update. The new aspiration definitely fits the city theme though, as it's called City Native, and it focuses on exploring the city and meeting new people. I think it's too early for me to judge whether I'm gonna like this aspiration or not, so I'm just interested in knowing more about it. There's one other thing I saw that has me pretty excited. So the game description for City Living on Game UK says that we can earn simoleons by selling our Sims crafts at the flea market. And what I find interesting is that this is tacked on to the end of the same paragraph of what we can see in the origin description for City Living, but it's missing that sentence about the flea market, so I don't know why that extra sentence is there on game's description, but not on origin. That's really odd. I hope that feature wasn't just made up. I don't think it is, because why else would it be there? Why would it just be made up? But the idea of a flea market in The Sims 4 sounds pretty interesting to me, and it's basically what the consignment store was like in The Sims 3 Ambitions. To be honest, I forgot that feature even existed, but maybe I'll use the flea market more often in The Sims 4 if it ends up being something that I find more interesting than a consignment store. I think just having more stores in general adds more realism to the game, kind of like what I was talking about earlier about the idea of bringing back video game stores. And that wraps up another Sims 4 info/thoughts video. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of the live stream and all the new info that we got about City Living this week. I'm really looking forward to seeing what next week will bring. I'm guessing we'll either find out more about the 3 new careers, or we'll learn more about all the festivals. Alongside that though, we should be expecting a game update this week. SimGuru Drake did confirm on Twitter that we are getting a game update for the month of September, and this coming week is the last week of September, so it's down to the wire now. But I will talk to you guys later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!